A very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 17th June 2020 and day is Wednesday. I would like to start today's discussion with this quote by Bruce Lee. Very interesting quote. You have to dig a little bit deeper to understand this particular quote. The less effort, the faster and more powerful you will be. Is Bruce Lee telling us that we need to work less hard, or we don't have to work that much hard? No. What is the meaning of less effort here? Less effort here means make that particular thing automatic. For example, brushing your teeth. You don't have to do effort. You are doing it since your childhood, isn't it? So it's a very automatic thing. You don't have to think about it and you don't consciously put some efforts in it. In the same way, just imagine your boxing, your running, your meditation, your reading. The more and more you do a particular thing on regular basis, right? A time will come when it will become your second nature. It will become so automatic that you don't need any effort at all. So this is what Bruce Lee is saying. Do something and take it to a stage where less effort is needed. And when you need less effort, when it is automatic, you will become faster and more powerful at that particular thing. With this, dear friends, the StudyIQ team has designed a smart course. This smart course is for Civil Services Examination. It covers both your pre and mains examination. To find out more about it, do check out our mobile application. Till 20th June 2020, EMI offer is also available, so make the most out of this offer. To download the PDF of today's discussion, check out my Telegram channel. You can follow me on Facebook. Please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. On our table, we have 5 important articles. The first one is about this spread of coronavirus from urban area to rural area. Second one is about Chennai. It's going to be under a strict lockdown for next some 12 days of goods and governments. This one is about a force majeure, about contracts for better conditions of work. This one is about cooperatives, and the last one is about MP lads. So let's start our discussion on this rural India, the new viral flashpoint. It's a matter of concern, and we cannot ignore this thing. We cannot take this thing lightly. As we all know, dear friends, that coronavirus is a sort of imported virus, right? People who are living in Wuhan, when they arrived in our country, they took this virus with them, and then not just from Wuhan, but from Italy and other places as well. When they came here, they brought this virus with them, and it's a sort of contagious contagious disease. So at present we have around 3 lakh cases in our country, right? Recovery rate is very good, but around the world every single day you see so many people are dying because of this coronavirus. So anyway, in a nutshell, as we all know that this virus is predominantly at present in urban area. You see the situation of Mumbai, you see the situation of Delhi, you see the situation of Chennai. We are going to talk about Chennai in our next article. So these 3 major epicenters of epidemic have been overwhelmed. Their medical services are working at present up to the max, right? And beyond max as well. They are overwhelmed, they are overstretched. And God forbid, if we have a sort of second wave in urban area, then there will be a big disaster. Right, this medical services, they won't be able to handle it at all. Matter of concern and matter of worry for our country is that 65% of Indian population is still living in countryside in our villages. As we all know very well, we don't have that good facilities in our rural area. I'm talking about medical facilities, right, as well as educational facilities. But medical facility is not available that much in our rural areas. And what we are finding nowadays, what we are seeing or witnessing nowadays is that in various different corners of our country, I'll give you one example of Gujarat, right? In Gujarat, you have one district called Jamnagar. Now, Jamnagar is famous for Reliance and Jamnagar is famous for various different things as well. But Jamnagar was nearly green, throughout lockdown. But as soon as this unlock 1.0 started, people from Ahmedabad and Surat and from other places, they started heading towards their back home, or for whatever reason they went to Jamnagar. People arrived in big numbers from various different parts of country as well as state of Gujarat, of course. And Jamnagar was having in few weeks time, Jamnagar was struggling with 50 cases, something like that. So this is going to be we are going to face the same situation in our rural area, and this is a matter of concern because we don't have that good facility in a rural area. This is the first thing. The second thing is that we have grown with this urban-rural divide in our country. Very unfortunate. Means it is matter of it's not luck, right? I won't use the word unfortunate. It's very irresponsible, and I'm blaming all of us. We have never paid that much attention to our rural area when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to factories, when it comes to education. It was all about creating big cities, 24/7. The cities are awake and we take pride in these cities. But this epidemic, coronavirus, it has shown us, it has kept a mirror in front of our face. And now we are not able to handle this reality. This deficiency has been very costly, not only in terms of rural lives and livelihoods, but also overall national wealth creation. The rural wave is just beginning, with urban wave is about to peak. See here that urban cases are still not at their peak. They are somewhere near to the peak. And the sad thing is that we are witnessing a sort of a start of, or an inception of, a rural wave. So we have to be very careful. So the only solution that I think can work here, because we know about lockdown, right? We have gone through lockdown. So once you open your lockdown, again, you are going to say the same thing. So the best thing is, first of all, educate the people, right? Change their behavior. Two things are very important, which we have discussed again and again. One thing is wearing a mask is the most important thing. And the second thing is hand hygiene. Apart from that, we need to build up capacity, right? Create awareness, blocking urban-rural importations, quarantining those people who are, if they are trying to move from red zone to green zone. Once they arrive in green zone, they should be quarantined. Diagnosing and managing clinical COVID-19 syndrome with or without positive PCR test results, making sure that other hospitals who are not COVID-19 hospitals, their capacity is not hindered, and we need to boost their capacity as well. All those mild and moderate cases, we can order them home isolation, video calling. We can use video calling, and with the help of video calling, we can monitor them. Cases can be monitored using this telephone technology or telecommunication technology. So these are the things that we can do. These are the best possible things that we can do. But make sure that this easy entry and exit, particularly entry in village, right? This can prove us very costly. So we have to be very careful here. And what we learned from South Korea, from Singapore, from Hong Kong and other places, let's say Singapore and South Korea, that it is the mask, right? It is your hygiene standards. These are the things, it's your understanding that will protect you. Lockdown is temporary. It's not permanent thing. Closed, again, this one is about lockdown. This one is about Tamil Nadu, right? It's about Chennai. Chennai is going to be under lockdown for 12 days from 19th June because cases are going up. Mortality rate is also going up. And the best thing that, again, we can do is we can nudge people so that they can change their behavior. They can adopt more healthy behavior so that we can fight this COVID-19. The national experience with a lockdown makes it clear that it is a blunt weapon. Lockdown is a blunt weapon, useful only for a brief period and to support a clear plan of action. States has now promised the Tamil Nadu government has promised that it will give 1,000 rupees to ration card holders and the disabled. This will be I won't say big help, but it's going to be a little bit, it will provide that cushion, that required cushion. It is also going to allow e-commerce sites to deliver things outside this containment zone. but this is going to create a big disruption in our economy. This lockdown, the re-implementation of lockdown in Chennai, because remember, Chennai is an industrial city, so it's not just about Tamil Nadu state, it's about our country. This whole supply chain will get disrupted. I'll give you one example. There are so many other examples as well, but I'll give you one and this will help you. Royal Enfield motorcycles, right? You find their factory, as far as I know, it is in Chennai. So like this Royal Enfield parts are made by so many different micro, small and medium enterprises around our country. Now they want to be able to, means even if they are in green zone, their business is gone because Chennai is under lockdown, you see. So this is going to be, means it's again going to create economic shock, and we don't know whether this can really help. This lockdown can really help us fight COVID-19, because so far things are like, that your hygiene standards and your hygiene and your behavior is the most important thing rather than lockdown. But anyway, moving on to next item of gods and governments. This one is about force majeure. Force majeure means when something goes wrong, when something that is beyond the control of human beings, when something like that happens, like natural disasters, earthquake, tsunami, cyclone, etc. When you are affected with this sort of thing, then you can opt for force majeure. Force majeure is there in, generally speaking, every contract. So when something goes wrong, when something is totally out of our control, out of our human beings' control, then you can opt for force majeure. So this will give you a sort of force majeure is a very practical thing, that when we are hit by this sort of natural disaster, you don't have to follow the rules and regulations that are discussed in contract, right? The things that are there in contract are for normal times, but when you are under something very natural, then you can have a sort of let go with terms and conditions of contract. The problem here, and I'm going to the very heart of this topic, is that due to the lockdown, a large number of companies and individually owned enterprises find their contractual obligations impossible to meet or economically ruinous, especially in aviation, automobile, construction, hospitality, entertainment, retail, insurance sector, and so many. I'll give you one example very quickly, right? A friend of mine, he was telling me that one of his friend, he used to pay some 1 lakh rupees per month for a place, a commercial property, and he has given some 3 lakh rupees as a deposit when he took this place as a rental commercial property. But the owner, he is not ready to give back him that deposit, that 3 lakh rupees deposit, because he's saying that he's not having money. This is because of this lockdown. So now, I'm not saying my friend's friend is right and that owner is wrong. The thing is that we are going to find this sort of situation, right? It is going to get more and more common. So many people, they will say that now they have lost everything because of this lockdown, so they want to be able to give back the money or goods or whatever it is, right? So we will find misuse of this lockdown and force majeure as well, which is not acceptable at all. The problem with contract is that we find this catch-all phrases in contract. Apart from this floods, cyclones, earthquakes, tsunamis, etc., then you have this catch-all phrase as well, that events including but not limited to the ones listed herein. Apart from this, all things, events including but not limited to ones listed herein. That means there is no sort of limit for it. So there are so many people, they are saying that this COVID-19 is a very natural thing, and because of that thing, they have this right to use force majeure. We have to understand this thing. It is not this COVID-19, right? It is this lockdown that has created this disruption. And lockdown is an act of government and not an act of God. So we have to be very technical here. I'm not saying that force majeure should not be applied at all. Yes, we have some legit cases. We have some places where we have to. But it all depends. We cannot just apply it all across the board. We cannot, means each and every business, they cannot use this force majeure or this COVID-19 as an excuse to use this force majeure. This is not acceptable. There should be clear and consistent judgments on this thing. And COVID-19 is not force majeure per se. Right? There are so many companies, they have misused it. I will give you one example of airlines. What they did, they got this thousands of prior bookings, and this flight cancellation took place. This lockdown was implemented. So the best thing is, and the right thing to do is to refund the money. If your flight is not going to take off, then why you need to keep my money with you? The simple is, give me back my money, right? What airlines did, they converted this money into credit share. So what they have done is, now you cannot, as far as I know, if you have purchased one ticket of Indigo or some whatever XYZ airline, then you can use it for that airline only. So this is not acceptable. They are saying they are using force majeure. Oyo Hotels, right? This Oyo company, Oyo's decision to suspend payments to client hotels citing commercial unprofitability is not a ground for frustration of contract. And this was clearly stated by Supreme Court in 1967 case, that if your business, if your contractual obligations are becoming economically arduous, it's not a ground for you to use this to step out or to breach contract. If you are making loss and you are saying this, you are making loss, that is not force majeure. That is not an act of God. That is something you have done. So this thing cannot be misused, and we cannot allow this thing to be misused as well. So naturally, we are going to find more cases will be filed, right, in civil courts, and we don't have that big capacity to handle. Just like our medical facility, we don't have that robust judiciary that can handle this many or all of the sudden surge of cases. So what is the best thing that we can do? The best thing is negotiations or mediations, right? Courts and regulators should encourage litigants to go for mediations or negotiations to settle disputes. If they are not happy, if negotiations and mediations, if they fail, then of course they can knock the doors off the court. But before that, the first thing is negotiations and mediation. This is the thing that we need to promote. Or else what will happen is that if everyone will start using this FM, that is force majeure, then this insurance industry will go bankrupt. And we cannot we cannot exploit this situation. We cannot allow this people to exploit this situation. For better conditions of work. This one is about cooperatives. Now, as we all know that migrant workers, they have gone back to their villages. Some of them used to work as tailors, some of them used to work as plumbers, cooks, construction workers, etc. in city area, of course. Now they are without any sort of work. So what is the best thing they can do? Means MG Narega, okay, temporary solution. I agree with MG Narega, or MG Narega is going to be a lifesaver for so many people. It's okay, acceptable. But that will be just, for survival. What about their progress? What about their wealth, right? Prosperity, to be precise. This article is saying that the best thing that we can do is, or they can do in fact, is they can start cooperatives. For example, if in a village in Bihar, several tailors come together to form a cooperative society of tailoring, they could attract contracts from garment manufacturers in Bihar and also elsewhere. This is a very interesting idea that should be explored and supported. There are many government agencies as well. Their main purpose is to help build cooperative societies, and there are also cooperative banks. They will help such societies. So we have government agencies or government agencies, and we have cooperative banks that will help this sort of cooperative societies. Now, it's very unfortunate, it's very sad, it's very exploitative, it should be condemned, and all those people doing this thing, they should be behind the bars as well. If you go through this article, then you will find a very disturbing example that BD workers, most of them are women, and in this particular article you will find that example as well, that they roll BDs, right? They make BDs and they hand over this BDs to this middleman. Now, do you know this thing that this middleman will pay the amount of that hard work only if that particular lady agrees to sleep with him? This is very disturbing. And this is sexual exploitation. In some places we find mental exploitation. In some places we find financial exploitation. All these things will end if we have cooperatives, because the nature of cooperative is like everyone is a partner. Everyone will contribute. The more you contribute, the more money you can get. Isn't it? This is how it works. And this will create a sort of team as well. It will become your big organization. So your negotiation power will go up. You can directly deal with big companies. You don't need middlemen. So profit, you will earn more profit, and the big companies, they will be able to purchase items in bulk. So this will help them as well. With large national institutions enabling such cooperative societies, groups of migrant workers can find institutional strength. We can form some service cooperatives as well. I'll give you an example of this. Seasonal service cooperatives like catering services, right? We find girls and boys of rural area, they are working in this service cooperatives like catering business during this marriage season, and after that they are back to villages. So they have this contractors and they have this whole chain. So these people, they get a very small amount of money for their hard work. But if they have a cooperative, right, then everyone, means whatever profit you make, it will be shared. So more chances and more professionalism and more business you can get. So we can do this thing, right? To give MGNREGA better shape, so that MGNREGA funds can be used to enable women or artisans to market their products. For time being, during this monsoon season, construction activities will not take place. So what we can do is we can use this MGNREGA fund. Rather than just giving money for doing nothing, we can utilize this MGNREGA workforce, and they can help in building some such products, or let's say selling items that are produced by these cooperatives, or running these cooperatives as well. You can fund them, or some people can work here, and if it's just you're starting, then money can be used from MGNREGA. So this is a very great idea. I hope someone will explore it, and this idea has a potential. Then we will talk about MP LADS. MP LADS stands for Member of Parliament Local Area Development Scheme. This scheme was in news few months ago, because this scheme was suspended because of this lockdown thing, right? Okay. So Subhas Kashyap is a big name, right? He's a writer of a book called Our Constitution. I have read that book. He is writer of a book called Our Parliament. I have not read that book, but I saw this book in library. So he's quite famous. I have gone through his interviews as well many a times in this All India Radio. I'm talking about a few years ago, but I have gone through his interview, and he's a constitutional expert, right, of our country. Okay. It includes, he says that our parliament is not just about making laws. It is a sort of multi-function body, right? It includes political and financial control, supervision of administration, elicitation and dissemination of information on the governments of the day, grievance ventilation, national integration, legislative and constituent functions, and furnishing leadership to the nation. And same thing goes with MP as well. MP's role is not just voting in the parliament, right? MP's vote is more than that. MP's vote is he is a sort of multifunctional representative. He or she, of course, is a multifunctional representative. An MP knows the development and welfare issue of his constituency better than anyone else. And I thoroughly agree with the writer of this article. This MP LADS was suspended because it gives like 5 crore rupees per year, and these MPs can use this thing in their constituency, this money, this resource, so that they can solve their day-to-day problems or whatever problems they have in that particular constituency. The suspension of MP LADS for 2020-21 and 2021 to 2022 in the wake of pandemic has done away with this vital role of MPs. This article is arguing that by cancelling this MP LADS, we have taken away, or the government has taken away, or the parliament has taken away a very important function of MPs. The government's decision to suspend MP LADS funds for 2 years evoked mixed reactions. There are people who are saying that this leads to corruption. This MP LADS has always been a sort of corrupt scheme, and they have misused it. The thing is, it's not actually corruption. What do you think, that MLAs and MPs, they are not that fool that they will use this money for their personal thing? They will not, if this 5 crore is given, they will not just take away this 5 crore and use it for buying perfumes and property and things. No. they are very smart. It means this article is saying that it is never misused and there is no evidence, but I don't agree with this point. What they do is, or how it works is that let's say in a particular constituency, in few villages or few towns or few districts, if your problem is water supply, right, then this pipe for supplying the water, the tractor company that will supply water, or whatever it is, construction, or this will be given to those companies who are near and dear to this particular MP. This is how it works, right? Either MP's son, daughter, or relative will be the owner of this company, or they will create a company and then this contract will go to them. So this is how it works. So I'm not saying that you can call it direct corruption or nepotism, whatever you can call it, right? Whatever you understand. But this is a very real thing. So few MPs or some MPs, they have misused this MP lads as well. And this is the reason why this MP lad is, it became a bit infamous because of this sort of acts. A good thing about MP lads is that MP lads corpus, out of the total corpus, 15% is for scheduled castes, 7.5 is for scheduled tribes, and 20 lakh is every year given for disabled or differently abled or Divyang people. So they won't get this money. So that's a very unfortunate thing about the cancellation. Then this article is talking about this Kerala. They have Kerala Assembly, Legislative Assembly came out back in 2012 with this Legislative Assembly Constituency Asset Development Fund, where MLAs are given 5 crore and this has been raised to 6 crore now. So MLAs, they will have 6 crore. They can use it in their region, their constituency, but MPs, right, they will not get any money from the parliament. So this will undermine the prestige of MP compared to MLA. So this is one argument here. Moving on to news items, PM had an interaction with 21 states and union territories, and he said that economy is getting back on track. Today is going to have a discussion with 15 states and union territory through video conference. During his interaction, the Prime Minister observed that timely decision taken by the government to lock down has helped our country. Prime Minister also said that each and every single loss of life is a very saddening thing for our nation. He said that we need to strictly follow this necessary precaution, though gaz ki duri is very important. Prime Minister noted that due to the efforts of past few weeks, several green shoots in the economy are visible now. And he said that as far as this fertilizer sale is concerned, it has increased. This highlights that Kharif crop sowing is going on and is flourishing. India, China. The Indian Army has said that it is firmly committed to protect the territorial integrity and sovereignty of the nation. And it's very unfortunate that we have lost 20 of our Jawans, right? So this is very unfortunate. Colonel Bikumalla Santosh Babu, he is from this town called Suryapet in nearby Hyderabad, and he was a colonel. He was survived by his wife, a 4-year-old son, 9-year-old daughter, and parents were living in Hyderabad. So, and Mrs. and kids were living in Delhi. So, his grieving mother, Manjula, said they are shattered on losing their only son, but also feel proud that he sacrificed his life for the country. God bless his soul. Violent face-off. Unfortunately, violent face-off took place on 15th June. We have lost some 20 soldiers and many of them are injured. China has not disclosed the right figure. And defense expert Commodore C. Uday Bhaskar has said that this is very unfortunate thing. Union Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said that both nations should exercise maximum restraint. USA is also observing this whole situation quite keenly. COVID-19 recovery has touched 52.46%, and Mr. Modi and Mr. Justin Trudeau, who's the Prime Minister of Canada, they had a telephonic conversation with each other, and both said that we need to strengthen multilateral institutions like World Health Organization. And that's everything in today's discussion. Thank you very much. God bless you all. Jai Hind.